The Minnesota political shooter, we're going to go into the coverage of it because he got caught. And this is going to be coverage by The View, who are wrong about everything, which is why I like to watch this segment together. So gather in, take a seat, come be with me. I need some ladies and gentlemen to help me figure all this out. Welcome to Doug in Exile. Shout out to the Quad Club, 4 videos a day. This is our 4th one. So thank you for watching. You really help keep the lights on. If you leave a comment below, it pushes this video out to everyone. Of course, if you subscribe, then you officially are one of us. So thank you for hanging with us. Here's Whoopi Goldberg, always wrong.
Late last night, the manhunt ended for the suspect accused of murdering State Representative Melissa Hortman and her husband, Mark, State Senator John Hoffman, and his wife, Yvette, who were also shot and are still recovering in the hospital. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz spoke out about this yesterday. Take a look.
This cannot be the norm. It cannot be the way that we deal with our political differences.
Okay, well, hold on one second. Look at this lady doing sign. Now, I don't know if it's a lady or a man, but it looks like he's making up signs and not doing real sign language. It also looks like he's making fun of whoever they're doing sign language for. It looks like a cartoon.
Now's the time for us to recommit to the core values of this country. And each and every one of us can do it. Talk to a neighbor rather than arguing. Debate an issue. Shake hands. Find common ground. It's not about hatred. It's not about mean tweets. It's not about demeaning someone. It's leading with grace and compassion and vision and compromise and decency. That was taken from us in Minnesota with the murder of Speaker Hortman.
Now, people keep saying, is this going to be a wake-up call? But when you start thinking about Paul Pelosi, you start thinking about all of the people, all of the folks who have been in the midst of this. What is happening? Is it?
Well, I can think of something a little more recent than Paul Pelosi. So she goes straight to a Democrat, which I don't even know that I don't think it was a Republican that went after Paul Pelosi with a hammer, but she didn't ever look at the absolute insane violence we've had in LA and is still going on today, those riots. Still, people have died there. She doesn't mention it at all because it's not Paul Pelosi. That happened, what, 4 years ago?
It's more than just being polite. It's more than hatred. There is something happening here that is really kind of freaky that I don't think I remember seeing before.
It's a wake-up call. I feel like America keeps, or some folks in America keep pressing the snooze button.
Yeah.
Because it's Gabby Giffords, it's Steve Scalise, it's Paul Pelosi. Look, you know, one of the things I'm most afraid of is that we become numb to this, the way that it feels we've become numb to school shootings.
Who is numb to school shootings? I don't get it. I don't know of anyone who is numb to a school shooting. Now, what they mean, and I think the thing that proves the numbness is what they do. And Navarro is numb because during a school shooting, what they really mean is we do nothing because we don't stop. We don't start grabbing guns. So they all pull out their politics on the Second Amendment instead of mourning for the victims, same way that we mourn for these political figures that got shot. Absolutely no reason for it, absolutely no approval for it whatsoever, but they're going to politicize that. The difference between me and Ann Navarro is I also am troubled by the LA riots, seeing our police attacked, seeing buildings burned down, seeing civilians. There have been deaths in that. And she doesn't care. Are the Democrats not numb to their own violence? I think we should all remain sensitive, by the way, to violence. All I'm seeing, though, is civilization being just unraveling. In fact, it's going back to normal. I hate to say it, but violence is normal for a civilization. Go back and read the Bible. Go back and look at man's history. The norm is riots and retaliation. The peace is what's amazing and stands out as unique.
Where, you know, it's just like expected that happens in America. Oh, that's just, you know, living in America. And we can't do that. But one of the things that I think we must demand is that our elected leaders who have the biggest bully pulpits, like we saw the governor of Minnesota, Tim Walz.
Well, your elected leaders are not as big of a bully pulpit as the ABC network, as having one of the world's most popular television talk shows that you guys bully and threaten Trump and degrade him and undermine him as our leader every day.
But that also includes Donald Trump, and I'm going to say his name. Because
Whoa, she's going to say his name now. Now they'll say Donald, not you know who. Now she's going to say his name.
we saw last week was a terrible escalation of political threats. We saw him talk about detaining and arresting Gavin Newsom for the crime of having been elected.
Now, wait a minute. He did not say it was a crime of him getting elected. This is so ass backwards. I don't even know where to start. It's so delicious. She's saying that Trump started the they're the deaths to Trump signs in the LA riots by Democrats has outnumbered, I think, any physical threat in American history. The number of death signs of Trump outraised. And also she's forgetting, Trump got shot in the ear by a Democrat. How come they haven't mentioned the clearest, most obvious threat to a politician's life from last summer? She glazes over it because she does not care. This is another political moment for The View where they're actually insensitive to the people who were shot, for which I actually am grieved and mourn that Democrat politicians were shot. You know that I believe in free speech. No one who believes in free speech should be for that kind of violence, because free speech is how you evade and avoid that violence.
We saw the Speaker of the House talk about tar and feathering Gavin Newsom for the crime of being elected. And we saw federal officials make Alex Padilla, a sitting U.S. senator, the senior senator from California, kneel and then...
No, he went after Kristi Noem in a very aggressive pose, like he was going to attack her. And then these men stopped him. He did not have his congressional pin on. This is a violent man, once again protected by these feminists. And now they're doing a cover-up job for him, going, long after they arrest him, when they pin him down, they pull him out of this room, they pin him down, and he has to kneel, they have to get him down on the ground. And now they're saying like he was kneeling, like they made him kneel, to a lord or something, which is false. They did not make him kneel as a subject or, bow before Zod. It wasn't that. It was they were pinning him to the ground because this is a violent Democrat where we've seen violence open up, and he came at Kristi Noem.
Him and handcuff him because he wanted to ask questions. Let me just say, I know Alex Padilla.
Just like you knew the guy that stole the gold bars, you do not have a good record of people you know, Ann Navarro.
He is the child of immigrants. His father was a short order cook. His mother cleaned houses for a living. They came from Mexico in the 60s. He put himself, Alex Padilla, through MIT. He is the less performative elected official I know. He is serious. He is deliberate.
He is violent. He can't control his temper. He doesn't know how to speak and ask questions. He came at Kristi Noem like an animal.
Feels authentically.
Oh yeah, so now it's the feelings. If you're violent, if you feel hatred enough, then they'll excuse anything that you choose to do.
He is soft-spoken. He wasn't there to
create... He was not soft-spoken when he went after her. Yeah, he's soft-spoken because he's about to go up there and hit her.
A media moment. He was there representing his constituents and the Latinos and people in his...
He's not representing Latinos. I don't know any Latinos. I don't know many that are as violent and emotionally out of control as him. Latinos I know, they can have a conversation. So don't make this about his race. You're actually defiling his ethnicity by saying that he represents Latinos. No, he doesn't. He represents violent lunatics, whether if they're white-like or Hispanic or whatever. He represents the violent people, and there's no ethnicity for violence.
Community that are being dragged through the streets, the babies that are being taken away from mothers.
Oh, yeah, by abortion. Who's for that? 1 million a year. Are we going to shed a tear for that? Oh, no, that's healthcare.
The U.S. citizen children that are being left alone in their homes.
Now she's going after, we're taking away their illegal parents, so she's pretending to care about the U.S. citizens left in their homes. When Biden purposefully lost, and Mayorkas and your party lost and covered up for 300,000 illegal children to be lost into trafficking. You don't care. Don't you dare bring that up, Ann Navarro. I know better. These are fake tears. This is fake concern. No, you don't care about, if you cared about humans, you don't care if it doesn't support your party. I care about them no matter what. I have compassion for the illegal children left behind if their parents are taken away. Yeah, you got to take the children with the parents so the family stays together and send them back to Mexico and Venezuela and wherever they came from.
That's who he was there representing, because he comes He comes
He knows
from those
what he's
people, and it
talking
is upon him to
Yeah.
do
Whoopi, when
his job.
you say there's something happening here, it's like a slow dehumanization
Yes.
of the other, whatever that other is to someone. And in this instance, it's a political division. And I think people need to check in with themselves when they hear someone is attacked in their house. If their first response is not feeling gutted and heartbroken without any identifiers, I don't need to know anything. If that was not your first response, you're part of the problem.
First of all, it is true. My heart wrenched even before I found out what party they were. And my heart continued to wrench when I found out they were Democrats being shot. So it still upsets me. I'm still in mourning. So I don't have whatever problem she's going to try and project on every single one of us, which in and of itself is to other the other party. If you claim the other party does this or whatever, I mean, she's allowed to do it. This is rhetoric. This is debate. You're allowed to. I make ad hominem attacks all the time. Make an ad hominem attack, but don't turn around and try and pretend like you're using logic on this one.
And elected officials, speaking of them, you've got Mike Lee out of Utah, who is either mocking what happened here when he tweets things like, this is what happens when Marxists don't get their way, or...
No, wait. First of all, that's true. Marxists are violent, and Marxists are running throughout the Democrat Party and throughout our country. We're watching violence on the upswing across all of the country. We just saw Comey do that. We need to 86 the president, 86-47, okay? That kind of rhetoric is on the upswing. So I only say that it is the party on the left that, first of all, that controls media, big tech, has an easier way of getting that word out. And only boomers, by the way, are even still listening to it. Only even older people are even listening to it. So don't pretend like this is Mike Lee's fault. This is true when Marxists don't get their way. Things go, you'll see more violence on both sides come up.
Mayor, on Wall Street, this was within hours of the loss of life and the brutal attack in these people's homes.
Wait, but it is Tim Walz's fault. The reason why that applies is Tim Walz is the one who gave this guy a job and his wife twice. This guy's crazy. He doesn't have a good, Tim Walz does not have a good sense of character.
Within hours of the loss of life and the brutal attack in these people's homes. In any other job, you would be fired instantly. Yeah. I don't know what is wrong with our government that someone is not immediately removed or punished. And what I would say is...
No, every one of you, when there's a school shooting, you go right to the Second Amendment. So every one of you, if you politicize a school shooting, you're advocating for you should be fired.
Right now...
Yeah,
if the HR of our government does not solve this problem, the people better be watching. This man is back up. It's a minute. It's like 2028. But being on the ground right now and coordinating how you replace people like this that can speak that way about other Americans.
Well, you do it by voting, right? You do it by voting during the midterms.
We are the HR of America.
We are the HR.
Yeah, well, I would vote Tim Walz out too if he's the kind of guy that would give that shooter a job and then turn around and say, I have lots of friends that are shooters.
But I will say this, Whoopi, to your question, there is this normalization of political violence, and it's been happening since about 2016. In 2020.
No, 2008. I think it goes back farther than that. I think it's Obama that radicalized everyone when he said of the cops like they're acting stupidly. I just don't think that you start degrading other people and other people's career. But I do agree, the rhetoric is getting higher. But the ones who started the rhetoric were Democrats. Now, that doesn't mean we have to continue it. Even Whoopi Goldberg dehumanizing the president, going, you know who. She'll sit there and say Butler, the shooter's name. That shows some level of respect that she won't even use for Trump. Trump's you know who. That's a dehumanizing statement to take someone's name away.
24, Chapman University, there was a study that suggests that a possible cause for this rise in targeted violence against politicians is this declining level of confidence in our most important social institutions and the growing political divisions.
Sure.
And what was really disheartening to me, 1 in 5 adults believe Americans have to resort to violence to get their country back on track.
Hold on, not just 1 in 5 results. There's the continuance of the study, which she will not quote, is that Democrats believe in violence more than Republicans. Democrats advocate for violence, including assassinating the president, more than Republicans do of their opponents. So she's not going to bring that up because the View is not interested in the truth.
A Washington Post poll found that 1 in 3 Americans say they believe violence against the government is justified. And so when that is...
You will not say it's Democrats. It's not 1 in 3 average people. It's not equal. It does affect everyone. There is a coarsening across everyone, but it is led and dominated by Democrats.
It's starting to happen. It's not only just a slide to fascism. It's not just a slide to authoritarianism. It's an end of democracy and how we do things. And so I don't know if it's time to wake up, because I think it's just happening.
Yeah, it's just happening. Democrats need to be stopped because they're the totalitarians, they're the fascists that are undermining our votes, undermining elections. Because remember, they said that Trump, they go, this is what a peaceful transfer of power looks like. That was what Democrats said. They never honored that peaceful transfer of power because they don't give respect to the office of Trump. They go out and riot and burn LA to the ground. That's what they mean by a peaceful transfer of power. They mean burning cars in the street and starting riots. That's not, now you might think it's only election day. They go, we only respect election day. No, they undermine Trump's authority as the president with their judges, with their riots, with their death threats all the time.
Happening.
The question that we always have after an act of political violence, whether it's the attempts on Donald Trump's life, the attempts on Governor Shapiro's life, these lawmakers and their spouses in Minnesota, we say, well, is the rhetoric contributing to it? And of course the rhetoric is, but to Sarah's point, we have to get to the heart of it, because there is this reaction when something happens, and if your first thought is, ooh, let me make sure he wasn't wearing my jersey, whoever the perpetrator was.
This is true also. Yeah, if you get off on going, this guy better be a Democrat. You know, if he's out shooting politicians, I don't want it to be my party because I don't want to have to wear it. Look, this guy could be a Democrat or a Republican. I did say that he's a lunatic, no matter which party he's from. Anyone shooting people is a crazy and not indicative of that party. So while violence is in general indicative of the Democrat Party, a shooter is not representative of Democrats or Republicans, because Democrats or Republicans don't go around shooting people. A whole lot of Democrats do light fires and have riots, though. That's a form of violence. That's not shooting. That is everywhere. But she's right. We should not be quick to try to make a political point out of this guy's party. And I'll only say because he's a lunatic.
So I want to make sure he wasn't on my political side. Do you care more about that than the 2 children who were left behind, who lost both of their parents in Minnesota this weekend, the Hortman's kids? There is something wrong at the heart. And I will say this, deep political polarization in this country is dangerous. I never thought I would live through this level of political violence that we have. Yep. And we all have a duty. How we talk about people, if we talk about...
You have a duty. The problem is it's between your ears.
People we politically disagree with, like they're our enemy, like they're less worthy of being here, like they're stupider than us, like we hate them and we despise them. We are adding to that. We have a duty to try to see people's humanity. And by the way, I'm trying to hold myself accountable to this. Rather than go on Twitter and rage tweet to my echo chamber of people who agree with me, I'm going to try to talk to people who see the world a little different than me, try to see their humanity, try to change their heart and mind toward what I agree by actually engaging them and talking to them like the human beings who are worthy of having a voice.
Well, yeah, let me know when you start doing that on The View. You should come on my show and talk to me like a human being. I'd love to have a discussion with you. She ain't gonna, I mean, I don't know when that starts, but man, it would be great to see that start in America. As soon as the left did that, by the way, we would have peace. As soon as we started talking to their side like human beings, instead of burning down LA.
Because when we treat people like they're enemies, this is what happens.
Well, I'm not.
And I don't treat people like they're enemies. I treat ideologies like they're enemies. The Democrat Party is a satanic, demonic ideology. Marxism is a satanic Democrat ideology. That is what they believe. Not the people themselves. Now, the people themselves, depending on how much they believe it, they will become evil. But if you believe whatever the Republicans believe, you will not turn evil. You're not going to go to violence. We're not the one putting out rhetoric. I don't believe in that stuff.
Gonna pull my punches here.
Yeah, okay, she's not gonna pull her punches after they just said, don't be violent.
Last week, when that tar and feather, you know,
that was
it's like
Mike Johnson, right?
Yep. What are you doing?
That was from Speaker Mike Johnson that said Gavin Newsom should be tarred and feathered. Anyone in my audience want to tell me, does it sound like Speaker Mike Johnson, did he actually want to tar and feather Gavin Newsom? Is that something we do today widespread? Look at Speaker Mike Johnson, who looks like an oatmeal salesman, door-to-door oatmeal salesman. Do you think he's the kind of guy that would go and tar and feather Gavin Newsom? No, I believe he was being rhetorical. We ought to tar and feather them. It's like saying we ought to put them in the Iron Maiden. I mean, this is like an ancient form, or the left saying crucify him. So I can't believe they pulled this one out to take seriously, that is violent rhetoric. What exactly happened when Speaker Mike Johnson said Gavin Newsom should be tarred and feathered? Nothing violent happened. Nothing ever is going. That's not what causes violence.
You know, you always say, oh, we got to come down on the rhetoric, stop doing it, and then you don't.
Yeah, and I don't believe you do have to cut down on the rhetoric that much, because I don't believe rhetoric is what causes evil. I believe ideologies cause evil. That is, it's what you believe that makes you more violent. If you're a pacifist, if I go up to an Amish person who's a pacifist and I tell him, hey, go kill that guy, I can try and even incite him. Quick, he's going to go, no, I'm a pacifist, because his ideology, his belief system is what prevents him from acting out in violence. See, rhetoric is no good unless the person already believes that it's okay to perform violence. That's why the rhetoric is more effective and dangerous on the left, because they're more prone to the idea of violence. And even the rhetoric on the right among Republicans is less dangerous, because we're less likely to act out in violence because of what we believe, not because the rhetoric is magical and hypnotizes everyone.
Yeah.
So I'm putting this in your hands. I'm putting this in the hands of the people who are supposed to be representing us. If you're not going to represent us, then don't run for office, because this is not the way to do it.
Yeah. You know what? I agree that Biden, who said MAGA Republicans and white supremacists were the greatest threat to America, he should not have ran for office. And you voted for him. So you vote for people who perform violent rhetoric during Black Lives Matter, when Kamala Harris said, these protests will not stop and they ought not to stop, meaning continue burning a Wendy's down. That's who you voted for. So you don't mean this, Whoopi Goldberg. Thank you for letting me prove this. And once again, those are all the wrong answers. I can't stand much more of this. That's why we're going to mercifully end this episode. Thank you all for watching. What do you guys think on the violence? Let me know in the chat below what you think. Who's more violent with their rhetoric? Democrats or Republicans? Who makes more violent speech? And who actually performs more violence? Democrats or Republicans? I'm Doug in Exile. Shout out to the Quad Club. Subscribe.